All right, guys, we're gonna do another recording call, and we're gonna see how this one goes as well. And I don't know, this is number two. Let's see how it goes. Hello, hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Fantastic. Hey, thank you again for making the time. I sure do appreciate it.
yeah, absolutely.
Good day at work, I suppose. Busy? How's it going?
Oh yeah, it's been fun. Lots of growth going on. Lots of interviews.
I can imagine. Oh, that's neat. Well, hey, I think, and thank you again for helping out in class the other day. The students really enjoyed it. And this is actually one that we're going to be doing for our West Virginia class, and that might be one too. It's remote, but I might still have you if you'd be open to it. Maybe sharing a few tips or doing a little mini lecture with me with them one day too. That'd be cool.
Absolutely.
Love it. Well, hey, thank you again for letting me reach out to you. And as a reminder, we're doing this professional selling course at West Virginia, like I was saying, and I'm reaching out because I'm working on two big projects for the class. So the first part involves just connecting with experienced professionals like yourself, hearing a little bit about your journey in the business world. I'm sales world too, if you'd like. And then the second big project is raising funds as a class to help send Boy Scouts with special needs to a disability accessible camp. So my big objective for our call is getting to hear a bit about your story. And hear any advice you'd have for some of the young people if or people that are in their shoes. And secondly, I'd like maybe to tell you a little bit about the special needs fundraiser. See if it's something you might be interested in supporting, or if there is anyone you might be able to introduce me to that could help with that goal as well. So I do not want to take more than 10 minutes out of your day. Is now still a good time to chat?
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Well, hey, I guess maybe just to start off, I'd love to ask you a couple questions first, just about your experience. So maybe the first one I was wondering is kind of like maybe like what pulled you into sales to begin with, and then maybe what are some of the early lessons that you learned that are still paying off for you today?
Yeah.
And by the
Um.
way, this is recording too, so they're going to get to hear this actually.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So I started my sales journey with Cutco back in 2012. Um. I was working at a daycare, and I knew that kids were not for me. And so I received a letter in the mail. I decided to go against my friends and family's advice and actually showed up for the interview. And my first couple of days on the job, I was ready to quit. Um, my dad was in sales after he finished with the Army, and he had always taught me that you just got to keep asking. Every 10 no's, you get one yes, right? When
Oh,
we were door knocking and selling magazines back in the day. And I had gotten so many no sales. Nobody was buying from me. And I called my manager and told him that I was ready to quit. And my manager at the time asked me if I was reading the script and or the manual, and I said no. Well, yes, but I was shorthanding it because it
right,
sounded weird.
right.
And he asked me to do one more presentation, read the manual word for word, verbatim, and if I still did not sell or still felt like this was not the right opportunity for me, then I could quit. And
Mm-hmm.
so, I toughed it out. I did one more demo, and I actually sold my first set of knives. And it reminded me that one, I don't know it ever. I don't know it all, right? I still had a lot to learn, and I always need to be learning. And two, not to quit, because there's always success if you're doing the right action.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, and then early on, I think my first 10 days, I was able to sell $10,000 worth of knives. And I that summer I was able to get enough money to buy my first car, and I just stuck with sales after that. Everything I've done since then may not have been directly called sales, but we're selling in everything that we do.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And maybe what too were a couple of so you said like, kind of following the programs are important, but what were a couple of like those early lessons that you learned that are still paying off for you today?
Yeah, I would say the idea that you do have to put in a lot of front end effort,
Mm,
regardless of what you're doing.
yep.
Um, I think a lot of times in society nowadays, we think that if it doesn't come easy or come naturally, then it's probably not for me. And I think sales has taught me early on that that's not true, right? Nobody's God's gift to selling.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, it requires a lot of hard work, but also a lot of, just keeping the right mindset. I think those are two keys that every sales organization harps on, but they're so, so powerful. When you think about the amount of rejection that we get on a daily basis, the
Uh,
amount of deals that we think are going to close and turn out that they don't, right? And having to keep that positive mindset of just keep moving forward and just keep working hard. Success is around the corner, right?
yeah, yeah. Love that. Love that. They need to hear that too. Thank you for saying that. And maybe like when you think back through all the companies that you've been with, I suppose, when you think back on some of the new hires that went on to become top performers, what kind of made them different?
Mm. Um, I'm going to tell a story. Our One of our very first hires, when we opened up our Houston office here, uh, I'm going to change her name just
Yep.
for
Yep.
HR purposes, but we're going to call her Hannah. And
Love Hannah.
Hannah had just moved to the United States, finally got her visa worked out, and she was looking for a job. She's from India originally, moved to New Zealand, and that's where she learned English, and moved to the United States, the Houston area, in the early part of 2023.
Okay.
And had never really done true sales, but had a super positive attitude. You could tell she was a hard worker, and we decided to take a chance on her, despite the lack of sales experience. And now, looking, almost 20 months later, Hannah is one of our top commission earners in the company. And it's been truly because she's followed the process, right? She's gone through the getting your knees right, or the scars, as we like to call them. She's
Right.
learned her lessons. She's always trying to improve. She keeps a positive mindset, and she keeps on finding a way of being resourceful, right? It's not a no, right, or the rejection. She doesn't let it get to her. It's either we could either find another way, there's another opportunity here. She's always looking for a way to win that specific person,
Yeah.
right, or
Yeah.
that deal. So I would say that's one of the big things that we see. It doesn't matter if you have a crap ton of a sales experience. Sometimes those are even the hardest people to break.
Right. Yeah.
But, if somebody has the right values and the right mindset, I mean, we can teach skill. I can't teach personality.
Yep. Yep. Exactly. Exactly. And I love it. Is Hannah worked out? Is she doing okay today?
Oh yeah, Hannah's a team lead. She's on her way to hitting her third promotion with the company on being a senior business development manager.
Love it. Love it. Well, so fun. And then happy for her. And thank you for that advice for sure. What the other one I had maybe too, and this is the last one I have for you, but if so maybe if I were starting like my first sales role tomorrow, what are some daily habits in the first 90 days that could really move the needle the most for me?
Hmm. And so I better understand your question. What are the what are the habits in the first 90 days that a salesperson early on in their career should be focused on? Is that correct?
Yeah, basically, yes.
Okay. I would say number one is organization, right? I think most people who are sales individuals are great because they're very personable, right? But a lot of times they lack the organizational side of things, and they can early on get deals closed, but they don't have systems in place to be able to maintain that.
Right.
And so early on, developing systems and organizational habits that minimize the back and forth that actually takes up way more time than just taking a couple extra seconds to organize it on the front end, right? It doesn't need to be 100% perfect, but some form of organization and process that allows you to move through your sales process. I would say number two is making sure that they are asking and connecting with the right types of people. Who are the top individuals within the organization? Reaching out to them, making sure that you're gaining tips and tricks of how they ran their business, right? I
God.
think so often people have this idea that sales is a very dog eat dog world because we see movies like Glengarry Glen Ross and Wall Street and all this stuff, right? They may not know those films, but they're good sales films from back in the day. But it is a different culture nowadays, and people want to share, people want to help, people want to give you advice because realistically, unless you're in a super niche type of organization, the reality is that there's so much opportunity out there, and people want to help. We like helping as human beings, and so connect early on with those top
Yeah.
performers. Um, and I would say number three is sure that your husband, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, family knows that for the first 90 days, you need to be locked and loaded, right?
Yeah.
That is the time to really make a name for yourself. And it may mean, some sales organizations are a little bit lenient with, your time in, time out, right? But you're an entrepreneur really in sales, right? Like you have to think, I own this book of business. Like the work I put in is going to build this book, right?
Yep.
And so I might have to wake up a little bit earlier. I may have to stay a little bit later, but that's okay because I'm trying to build the commission checks that I want.
Yep. Yep, I love that. I am so happy I asked you those questions. They need to hear that for sure. And it's actually going to be so it's going to be like there's a group of students that's their first, this is their first selling class. And then there's some that's their second, and then there's some that's their sales management class. So there's some kids that like they have to just take it because because it's in their degree plan. And there's some that are going to go on to be sales professionals. So I really appreciate you sharing that with me and with all of them for sure. Thank you, Kate.
Absolutely. absolutely.
And then just transition a little bit, but as I mentioned earlier too, we the second part is we're also working on a small class initiative to support a cause that we care about, and that's helping raise money for something called the Trailblazer Program. And it is an adaptive scouting program that serves multiple dedicated special needs schools in and around the Pittsburgh area. And have you had any experience with friends or family members who maybe that have special needs, or maybe do you know anyone from your community that's just been involved in scouting either?
Yeah,
Yeah,
both.
both. Oh yeah, fun. Well, as you probably know, then the cool thing um, about this program is that it isn't just maybe about like it's not just like doing crafts at summer camp, right? It's like the experiences they have, like literally, they're like kind of like trying to help rewire how these kids see themselves and what is possible. So the Trailblazer program teaches character development and leadership through scouting experiences that are like adapted to meet each scout kind of like where they are. So an examples might be like handicap accessible zip lining, right? And accessible challenge courses, or like adaptive archery training. And so the idea is that yes, they have fun, right? But they also carry this new like I can do this attitude back to their schools and families. And when they have that, that's inspiring for not just them but for so many people, to see people that have the disabilities have that attitude. It can help so many people outside of just them, right? So, but like, there's literally this one video on the website. This lady saying like, my son literally went from saying like I can't do that when he saw like the challenge wall, to saying like what else can I do while I'm here, right? And I just think about it, like these kids that have always had to like rely on a wheelchair, mobility devices that are like literally flying through the air on a zip line. I just think that's cool, honestly, Kate. And that's why we wanted to take this on as a fundraising project. So because of the extra support staff and the special equipment that's required, it takes about $2,000 to send a scout to camp. And don't worry, I'm not about to ask you for $2,000 unless you really want to. But our goal as a class, as a small group, is to send at least one scout to camp this coming summer. So I was wondering if you'd be interested in maybe kicking in a few dollars for the cause. And whether it's 50 or 150 or 550, everything helps.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fun.
Uh, I can definitely contribute. It. That sounds great.
I sure do appreciate it, ma'am. And this, I guess, well, this is the part of the call too. You beat me to it, but I was going to ask you, would you be interested in making that tax deductible contribution to our fundraiser today?
Tax deductible. I love it. Yes.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for all that. Really does mean a lot. And if you can give me just 1 minute, I'm going to go ahead and text you over the contribution link right now. If you wouldn't mind just grabbing a card or
Okay.
something while I'm doing that. I don't know if you're driving or not, but also I think the link actually takes Apple Pay too. So if that's more convenient as well. But let me
Oh yeah.
send this
More
over to you
convenient.
right now.
All right.
All right.
Got it.
If you can just confirm that you got the text and that the link opens.
Yep. Link is opened.
Great.
Looks like we've raised $935 thus far.
We're doing it.
So let's
And and
donate.
yes, ma'am. And if you could just tell me which of the amounts you're choosing so I can write that down too, for my record. And then if you can look for my name in the drop-down menu, so it gets credited properly. And actually, you know what? My name isn't going to be in there. I just realized. So if you just wouldn't mind just maybe sending me a screenshot of the confirmation screen after you hit the submit so I can turn that in to the professor for credit.
Okay. Perfect.
Well, that's what the script says, but actually, I'm gonna post the confirmation so I can like say like, look, kids, we actually did it. I'm still a salesman, Kate. I'm like, what's my goal? Like, how much am I gonna raise today? Like, I don't know. I love it.
Yes, love it. All right, here we go. Apple Pay, donate. There we go.
Which of
And
the amounts were you picking?
I picked 75.
You
I
are,
wanted to get you guys over
oh my
12
gosh, you are a blessing. I love you.
then. There you
So
go.
sweet of you. So, so sweet. Well, thank you so much. And then
Or
as always, there's one more quick thing before we hang up. If just like if and you don't have to, but if I were to just send you a quick blurb about what I'm doing, would you mind maybe putting me in like a little three-way text with or introducing me to a friend or colleague that might be willing to give me a couple minutes as well?
yeah, absolutely.
Fine. Well, I'll get that sent over. Well, hey, thank you so so much again for all the great advice. I will be put to good use. I know it. I'm literally I'm gonna make a quiz actually over your advice in this video and make them pass so they actually retain it because that was some gold for sure. I appreciate you, Kate. And again, I know that may not mean a lot to you, but just on behalf of those kiddos, we really do appreciate your donation too.
Of course. I appreciate you guys.
Well, you are fantastic. I look forward to speaking with you soon, and let's touch. We still need to touch base about some of that AI stuff as well. So, I busy people,
Yes,
but I will try to get that over before the end of the week as well. Okay.
perfect. Thanks, Cody.
Thank you for taking the time, ma'am. Sure do appreciate you. Have a good evening.
You as well. Bye.
All right. Bye bye. Cool. Well, how did that go? That was great too. $75, right? We're at 175, just that easy. How did I get those calls, by the way? I did know them slightly, and I was able to reach out and through some LinkedIn messages. But we use that same format, like we said, to kind of reach out to them and see if it was something they could do, and it worked. So we'll recap that one again. But I think the big things there, like we said, just stick to the script. You probably noticed me doing that again and again. Make it your own voice, but it just kind of flows. So get them talking though. She had some really good stuff. Get them talking. But thank you so much again, and let's keep kicking butt, taking names, and we're gonna keep raising some good funds to help some good kids. Have a good one. Talk to y'all soon.